Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Fabledom and welcome back to Nerdria. Things are going pretty well. There have been a couple of changes since the last episode, but things are going well. Our mission, our goal to get 500 bread is also progressing pretty well. We're at 309 out of the needed 500, and it probably helps that I have gone around and built a couple more farms and a couple more windmills just up here. I've also built another bakery right here, and I built another 2 bakeries just over here as well. So we actually have +3 bakeries and +2 windmills compared to what we had at the end of the last episode. But that's not why I've gone back on what I said at the end of that last episode. If you go back, I mentioned something about how in the next one we will have the amount of bread that we need, and obviously we don't. The reason we don't is because I thought it would be more interesting to have a little bit of a look at this particular mission. Because if we complete this mission, admittedly, Agnes isn't going to be happy about it, but we do get 400 bread, and it just requires commoners. The reason I haven't done this yet is because I only have 3, and I really want that 100% chance of success. So I'm going to be waiting for another 10 days. We'll speed things up while we wait. We're going to be waiting for another 10 days to bring in some more commoners who can live in these new townhouses that I built just over here. And that should mean that after something like 60 days, I will get that plus 400 bread, and that's going to give us everything that we need to come down this way and get ourselves a bit of a wedding going. We have 35,000-ish coin. We have 600-ish grape juice. We have 1,300 prismatic liquid. It's just the bread that's holding us back. We also have 129 days of food, which is kind of amazing. Not going to complain about that. And there we go. If we bring in these 5 commoners, what I can do is immediately go back to the world map, immediately go to this mission, and we can send 4 of those commoners out on the mission so that hopefully in 60 days, assuming that the chance of success is actually 100%, we will get ourselves just a little bit of bread. We are at 350 though, so we might actually pull this off before they even get back, but I'm willing to bet that we won't. So we'll see what happens. In the meantime, let's go ahead and start to get some people to work in these town shops around here, since we have a few of them that could definitely use a handful of workers, and that should make people around here that little bit happier. Now, in other news, I realized that I've never really looked at the Tinkers Guild to see what it's all about, and it turns out, at least I think I'm reading this correctly, that if I was to hand the guild the following resources, I will increase this bonus by another 5%. So this provides production excellence, which helps produce or helps production structures work 10% faster. So if I give it those resources, I could sort of just keep doing this, and it will continue to give me a massive buff towards my production. That seems sort of like a no-brainer. Admittedly, I did just consume a ridiculous amount of coal, which we kind of need once winter comes around, but that's not bad. That's pretty good. 40% faster production is kind of wild. I don't know if that applies to a bakery or not. I really have no idea. I don't know if this thing might have a radius on it or something like that, but that's pretty good. I like the idea of that, although I will need a lot more coal if I want to keep doing that. Now, in other news, I do notice that my bread is starting to drop down a little bit. It did hit about 375 at one point. So I think my theory about needing to wait for this active mission to be done, well, I think I might have been right on that one, which is a little bit unfortunate. I was really hoping that I might have been wrong there, but I don't think I was. I do, however, think it might be an idea to get myself another granary. I'd love to put it right there in the water, but I'm kind of thinking here or even here for another granary in this space. It would be nice to sort of dot it around anywhere, but I think right here is probably the right spot. We do have one up here that's already full. So what I'll do is put a granary right there, and I'm going to see what the radius is on you. That's totally fine. We can do ourselves a little homestead here. We'll give it a tree, and I'll give it another tree. We'll get that built, and whoever moves into this homestead can work in that granary, and obviously that granary, as we've been doing a lot lately, is going to be set up to deal with grain, with flour, and with bread. And that's hopefully going to result in these 3 windmills and the 2 bakeries that we have up here just working that little bit more efficiently, that little bit more effectively, and hopefully that means that we're going to see a fair bit more bread production. I'm glad that this mission's here. I'm glad that that's a thing we can do. I was just hoping that I would actually be able to produce a ridiculous amount of bread, and even with, I mean, we can see how many bakeries we happen to have. If we go into production, we have 10 bakeries, which is kind of wild. We have 10 bakeries. We have 9 windmills. That's a lot. That's that's definitely a lot, and it's still not necessarily enough. Although I guess the problem, if we sort of look at it sensibly, is going to be something along the lines of, well, we keep bringing in more people who need to eat to work in the windmills and the bakeries, so it kind of has that knock-on effect of, yeah, that's probably exactly what's going on, actually. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Basically, the people that I'm bringing in to make the bread also have to eat the bread, so maybe that's a little bit of what's going on. Regardless, we're back above 300, which is great. We have some polluted water that we can deal with right there, and we do have a few more missions. Farah actually has something for me that's not going to be good for the relationship, so you know what? I'm not going to do it because I think it would be a bad idea. You have a couple of things for me, which is interesting. This is very high danger. You know what? I'd like to do both of these just to try and just to get them done, really. That's kind of where I'm at. We'll send out a couple of you guys on that mission as well. I would also be curious to maybe start insulting some people. So maybe Griwith, maybe Ramon over here in Griwith is someone that we could go to and be like, oh, hold on a minute. Can I insult you? Is that a thing we can do? I don't think I can. I suppose I would have to send a messenger to do that. My thinking was, what happens if I go out and start insulting the other rulers? Do we ever go to war? Do we ever fight? Does the game have that kind of system where the enemies would like invade my kingdom, and that's why I have a little standing army just all the way down here? Because that would be kind of neat. I'm not gonna lie. I'd kind of be into that. I think it'd be a really cool feature if that's how that works, but I genuinely have no idea. Anyway, let's go ahead and clear out this granary of anything that we don't need, which is everything but, again, the bread, the grain, and the flour. We'll get a couple of people working in there, which is absolutely fantastic. And do we have any space in this farm? We absolutely do as well. Okay. Well, I'm not too worried about all of that. And, you know, I realize I'm complaining about my bakeries not doing as much as I'd like. I think it's fair to say the fact that we're sitting on 300 bread-ish when we were sitting around 100 at one point, they are working. They need to be working more. Oh, now this is surprising. We have 600 bread right now, and I don't know if that's anything to do with the fact that we've just turned this in. I think it might be. So I'm going to pause while we have 600 bread. I'm going to see what this is all about. Military rank 2 is totally fine. The reason I'm pausing is because I obviously don't want to consume all of that, but also because I realize I don't think I've ever built the concert hall, and I would kind of like to, and I don't think I ever built the mall either, and I would also kind of like to. I just don't know where this should necessarily go. That's the problem I'm having. Obviously, this is sort of less of a priority than everything else that I've been doing, but I don't know, I still think it should be built, you know? I still think it's kind of a cool looking building. It would be neat to have both of them somewhere. It'd be better, I think, to have them down this way, but I don't really have the space for it. I could build them up there, but I don't know. That seems like a waste of a building, given that it has a massive desirability buff in the area. Same with the, oh wait, that employs a noble. Okay. We'll do the concert hall then. We'll go up this way. We'll build the concert hall. We could build it in here, but I think up here is probably the better spot for it. So we'll just build it. I want to say, I sort of want to build it there, I think. Maybe facing that way rather than facing out to a couple of bakeries. I actually don't know on this one. Again, it doesn't really matter. It's really not that important. It's not that deep. But I would, yeah, I guess, you know what? I guess this sort of makes sense. There's a lot of houses in that area that we can have that desirability buff applied to, which I think is good. We'll get ourselves a bunch of these trees for the back of it right there. And I think what we'll do is get ourselves just a little, let's just do a little cobblestone road straight through there and a little cobblestone road straight up the side of this thing for a little bit more accessibility. And I think that's fine. So I guess now it's time to come down to the palace and we want to throw a wedding.
Here we stand, our journey done. Two leaders, lovers, joined as one. A union forged in heart and fire. Lands and peoples, now empire. Tales are told of love and wars, but this was special. This was yours. Now raise a toast, enjoy your night, forever after, all is right.
Well, that was kind of adorable. We're in the final chapter. We are now in the happily ever after. I will collect my reward, and I would like to see what this is all about. It's a letter from Farah. Well, hello. The echoes of our joyous union resonate in the chambers of my heart. Our wedding, a tapestry woven with threads of love and industry, delights me endlessly. As we embark on this journey of shared rule, my soul brims with anticipation for the harmonious reign we shall craft together. Okay, so I'm married now. That's cool. That's all right. Is that it? Is that it? I want to say that's probably like the end of the game, right? That's probably, yeah, it's probably how that goes. You're married. While married, you will have the buff True Lover's Gift, which is unique to each ruler. Once married, you cannot divorce. Oh. Okay. I mean, if I was to, what if? Can I? It doesn't say I can't marry someone else. It doesn't say I can't do that. I'm just saying. It doesn't say that I'm. Maybe we. Wait, has everyone gone back to neutral? No, not everybody has. Okay. I don't want to annoy you. You look like you'd be tough to fight. I think Griwith is the one that we're gonna go to. So we're gonna be blunt. I do not like you and do not agree with how you rule your kingdom. We're gonna send that messenger and see what happens with Ramon and see if we can make him particularly angry. But oh, there's a little heart next to Nerdria now. Oh, okay. If I have less than 50 of a stored resource, all of the production buildings produce it 20% faster. That is the permanent buff that I receive for being married to Farah. That's nice. Okay. That's nice. I wasn't expecting the little book thing, but okay. I guess that is the marriage. I guess marriage is the end game. Okay. Okay, so my message has been delivered to Ramon, who is now a little bit more unhappy with me. Is there anyone that likes me less than Ramon currently? It doesn't look like it. So can I just continue? Oh, I have to wait for a while to insult him. That's unfortunate. I was really hoping that I could. I was really hoping I could do something with that. What if I was to just request? Like, can I just? No, I can't request that. What if I just say I want 1,000 coin, and in exchange I will give you some bread? Or do you have to be willing to accept my offer? Yeah, you do. Okay. I was hoping I could insult him with some basic trades. I can't remember what game it was that let you do that, but there was a game I played at one point where you could insult the other leaders by requesting a trade that was particularly outlandish. Essentially, you would go and say, like what I'd said there, I will give you a loaf of bread for 1,000 coin, and they would take offense to that. I thought that was hilarious. I'm pretty sure I played that when I was a kid as well. That might have been Stronghold. or some kind of, it was some kind of medieval game anyway, I think. I might be making this up. There's a non-zero chance I'm completely making this up, but I do remember maybe they didn't actually mechanically get more annoyed, but they would give you a response that indicated that they weren't happy with your insults in terms of trade, which again, I thought was funny because I'm pretty sure I was a kid when I played it, but regardless, we have this concert hall coming together, which is great news. We have some space over here we could continue to build in, which I would be tempted to do. But I think we've kind of reached a point, other than the fact that we do continue to run out of coal, I think we've reached a point where we're pretty good in terms of what we're able to do and what we've done in Fabledom. So I think what I'm going to do, just to try and deal with this particular problem, is build another couple of coal makers right there. And I'm going to build myself another couple of coal makers right here and here. And we'll put 4 people to work in all of those. We're obviously losing some trees by doing this, but that's, well, that's not good, but it's going to have to be a thing that we do because, well, I kind of happen to need the coal makers there. So we'll build ourselves a little bit of extra road there as well. We can't bring anybody in right now. We do have 11 unemployed Fablings, which is great news. I think what we'll also do is bring this little road just out to about there. And we'll get ourselves just a section of stone road that comes out to meet it. That way, hopefully people that live in these townhouses over here can come down and maybe work in these coal makers. So we have someone, yeah, you're not too far away. Eva Gonzalez? Why do I know that name? She was she might have been in a TV show at some point that I've watched. Regardless, that's the plan. We'll get this coal situation sorted out. Soldiers that need attention, sure, we'll bring them in. That's totally fine. We have this thing coming together as well, so we'll get someone working in there. And we have this last one right here, which we can get someone working in as well. So that will hopefully sort out our coal situation. We've also managed to build the concert hall, which is amazing news. We'll get a couple of people working in there. They're all a little bit far away, but that's totally fine. This thing looks amazing. I also love the cardboard cutouts. I really do. I love this thing. Honestly, the Globe Theater is just, I know this isn't exactly the Globe Theater, but I love the Globe Theater. I've never been, I don't know if you can go into the one. There's one, I don't know. I don't think it's the original one. I'm pretty sure like the original one burned down or got destroyed or something hundreds of years ago. But I know that in a town in England, I think there is a Globe Theater or like a recreation of the Globe Theater. I might be getting my history wrong. There's a lot of things I might be getting wrong today, but I've seen it. I've not been into it, but I've been there and seen the outside of it. And I was like 8 or 9 years old when I saw it. So this is going back 22 years. Ugh, that's depressing to think about, but regardless, I was 8 or 9 years old when I saw it. And then years later, it comes up in an episode of Doctor Who and it's like, that's the Globe Theater. I've been there. It was so cool. It's kind of weird, actually. There's a lot of places in Doctor Who that like, I've been there. I've been in those locations at times because I've been to a lot of places in the UK and especially in and around like London and different places as well. So that's kind of fun. Or for example, there's an underground station. There's one of the underground train stations, the London Underground in, shocker, London. One of those stations, one of the more newly built ones, was featured in Rogue One, the Star Wars story. And I was there a number of years ago, like a year after that movie came out, maybe a little bit less than a year after it came out. And I remember walking through that station and I just stopped. I was with some other like YouTuber friends. We were all at an event and I stopped in the middle of it and I was like, guys, and they're like, what? And I'm like, we're in Star Wars. And they're like, what? And I pull it up on my phone and they're like, oh my God, we're in Star Wars. Cause it was just decorated a little bit to look like it fitted into Star Wars. Anyway, that's besides the point. That's what you get when I start talking about things like this concert hall. We just go off on little tangents and journeys. I feel like I haven't done that for most of this series. So you know what? Here at the end of it, I think I've earned it. I think I've earned the right to go off on a little bit of a tangent there. And I did just say here at the end of it because I think, all things considered, I have had a really, really fun time playing Fabledom. And I'm probably going to continue to mess around in this save a little bit. I don't think I'm necessarily... I don't think I'm done playing the game, but I do think that as far as this series goes, I think we've done about all that there is to do. I'm sure we can go fight things and we've got plenty of missions to do, but I'm kind of content to leave it there. We've built a kingdom, we have loads of food, we have 132 days of food remaining, we have witches flying overhead, which we can give them money to get rid of. We're in a really good place. Could I optimize this further? I absolutely could. Could I go in and make everything perfect? I absolutely could, but I've had some fun with this. Ooh, we lost a sword fighter. That's unfortunate. I've had some fun with this, and that's all I set out to do with Fabledom. So that's going to do us for today, and that's going to do us for Fabledom. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. It has been an absolute pleasure, as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.